Well, hello, wealthy women. I am so excited to bring you this very glamorous and inspiring interview today. I'm going to share the screen in a minute with Sara, who she's going to tell you about her really stunningly exciting life. And she felt the need to transition into something different and up level herself. And this is a really wonderful story because I think she'll tell you and you'll just kind of understand. So get ready to be inspired. Get ready to realize that there is a path for you and your dream business too, and the life that you want to create. And Sara is a shining example of making that come true. So, without further ado, Sara, what I would love for you to share with my audience is let's know about where you were hanging out in all the exciting, exotic locations and all the glamour, and what you felt that pull to do. And now, how do you help other women grow? And then, let everybody know what your big mission is, your big soulful why, and then, of course, how they can find out more about your work and a little bit about your programs and so forth.
Of course. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It's I'm living my dream right now, even though like a couple years ago, actually a year ago, a lot of people would think that I'm already living my dream life. It was jets and yachts and the most dreamy, beautiful locations with like the 1% of the world, and it was on all on me. I was the yacht manager, the only contact person making everything happen. And as dreamy as that sounds, you have to realize that it was a job, that I was selling my soul for money and basically living on someone else's schedule. I was working 18-hour days every day of the week, no weekends. And yes, I earned good money. I was earning like 15K a month. I was living in Slovenia. I was balling. I was earning more than the president. Okay, I wasn't paying American taxes because I wasn't from there, winning. But money doesn't mean anything if you can't have freedom, if you can't spend it, if you can't enjoy it. What if you have no time to go and if you live at your job, which was my, case. Now, all of that to say that I've learned so much. I was like the youngest owner's rep in the industry. I climbed up in four different careers by the time I was 28. So I learned a lot. But at some point, I was like, you know what? Why is the only way to make money by working hard? That can be real, right? There's so many millionaires and billionaires, and I don't see them hustling. Okay. So, how do I become a millionaire while helping people spread their joy, their knowledge, and teach others how to do exactly the same? And this is where the idea hit me. I was like, I never wanted to start a traditional business. I want to have a business where I can work from anywhere in the world. And that kind of sounds too good to be true. So I was like, let me do some research. So 2.5 years ago, I decided to start and put my business online, which guess what? The expenses to start an online business are close to nothing. You can literally start with nothing. All you need is an idea. You need consistency to consistently like talk about what you do, and you need to learn marketing. But this is where most business owners get stuck. A lot of people put themselves out there, talk about their idea, get a lot of clients because you're brilliant at what you do. But then all of a sudden you hit those 15, 20K months, right? If you're like, oh my God, this is great. But your itinerary, your calendar is packed. You're taking calls from like 6 a.m. till 6 p.m. You maybe have a little bit of time to go pee or pick up your daughter or grab some lunch. And again, now your clients have become your boss. So that's not what we want. And a lot of business owners that come into my world, they're like, how do you work 10 to 15-hour weeks, earning so much money, helping others do the same? Like clearly there's a catch. And the catch is that you are currently exchanging your time for money, and you think that your time is your only leverage. So you're selling one-on-one calls, VIP month, like weeks, whatever that is connected to your time. You're not creating any leverage. So if you go on vacation, you're attached to your phone. If you get sick, your clients don't feel supported. So you have no leverage, and that's not how you scale. The only way to scale that way is burnout. That's it. That's the only way. Or hiring a team. But now, if you hire a team, what's going to happen? More money, more investing. And then now, all of a sudden, you're not even in contact with clients anymore, which is what you love. So now you're managing a team. So, long story short, what I teach you to do is create leverage by packaging your knowledge from your beautiful one-on-one containers into a one-to-many without losing the transformation, the long-term effect on clients. And we do this by creating a course, a membership, a mastermind, something where the thing that you teach every single client, every time, every day, you're like a bloody parrot. We package that into a course, into a membership, into something passive where every client can go through it. And all of a sudden, your itinerary, like your calendar, is not packed at all. You can have way more clients in your container while still providing the exact same amazing transformation and results. Guess what? You scaled your income. You have more time on your hands. You are now a business owner, not business, like your business is basically running your life. And the clients are the happiest they have ever been. And the last piece here is you're like, duh, Sara, I wanted to create a course, right? Like, no brainer. Everybody thinks about creating a course. But what you're doing is you're pricing it at low ticket. So if you price it at low ticket, then guess what? Your one-on-one was $1,000, $2,000, but now you're selling a $69 course. Do you know how many $69 or $99 courses you have to sell a month? Like a ton, like 100. And right now, social media is brilliant. But if you want to work on volume, like the big creators, and you can get that visibility, that is very hard. So what I teach you to do is we're not going viral, we're not focusing on likes and comments and all of that. We are focusing on selling and activating your buyers so they jump into your DMs. And I don't care if you have 100 followers, 100,000 followers. This works because you speak to one buyer, so we're working on transformation, on depth, and on selling versus being an influencer. Because we don't want to be influencers. We want to be CEOs, not overthink content, and make a shit ton of money while helping a ton of people and having our freedom. So that would be what I do, who I am, who I help, and a little bit of my bougie life before to why I am here now.
I really love this because it speaks to every woman. Because I think, the majority, we start out with our big passions and we're convinced of helping others and we just pour everything into it. And it feels really good because it's our passion and we also know we're helping. And then you do reach that point and you, there's only so many hours in the day and so much energy that you have. And also, like, not to mention all the other parts of a business, the fulfillment, the marketing, right? The new contacts, so much. And then just learning, maybe you're trying to advance your skills. And so you're learning, let's say, some AI automations, and then there's implementing, and then there's tech. And before you know it, you're just like overwhelmed where you're just frozen. And then, like you are alluding to, then many are taught, okay, well, get off the calls, you only have so much time, do the low ticket offer. But like you said, you need a high volume already for something like that. And, and that is going to really take quite a while to get those numbers up there, right? So I love this idea. Now, one thing I wanted to ask you when you were saying you want to do more of your high ticket, like what your typical one on one clients are used to paying. How are you then? How do you transfer for those that are wanting to figure that out, but they don't want to do the one on one calls anymore? So, how do you get that message out to many um, with selling a higher ticket offer? Are you doing webinars? Are you doing live events, workshops? How is that working? Where maybe they can say, all right, maybe I went down the rabbit hole with a low ticket offer and let me pull it back and there's a better way than just on calls all the time.
Oh, 1,000%. So getting your ideal client, there's science to it. And in the beginning, when I was, building authority, yes, I did live trainings, I did master classes, I recorded them. That's also part of my launch technique because it's brilliant. You record it once. After you can even run ads to it. You have a fully built out funnel. So hosting free trainings, amazing. But if you know how to speak to your people, what I teach you with my past method, which is problem awareness, agitation, transformation, and solution, those four content ideas that work with three of your content pillars is what makes people want to jump into your world versus like and comment and cheer you on. Now, how you get people into your world is by speaking to one ideal person in their aha moment. So I'm not talking about a woman who is burnt out. Cool. I'm talking to a woman who is sitting on call from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Your back is hurting. You're looking at your calendar for next day. You're freaking out because you're like, how in the hell am I stuck here? Yes, I can choose when I want to go to vacation, have a vacation, but I know that I'm going to be stressing the whole time while I'm there because I can't even, take my phone away or you're carrying your phone to dinner and checking it every 3 seconds because you know your client is texting you on a Sunday about a report for X, Y, and Z. If you're that specific, your views are not going to be high. Your story views are not going to be high. But you have to really think of Instagram and TikTok. They are beautiful platforms where you get to connect to people who you've never met before. And if you speak to the one person, you funnel them to your account with your posts. Now, what people do, which is a mistake that I commonly see, they sell with their reels, with their posts. Occasionally with the promo that works. No. With the reels, you have to bring people into your audience, welcome them, nurture them, and then you get to sell on your stories every single day. And this is where people are like, oh, I just don't feel like it. I don't know what to post. And the easiest advice that I can give you is if in today's post you talked about imposter syndrome and you're working on mindset for business coaches, then your video is 2 minutes long. In your stories, do the exact same thing, even more in depth, explain it. So you don't even have to think, you're already the expert, but in your stories, guide them through why, how, the solution, what you offer, your client results, whatever that is, more in depth. And in the end, funnel them to a free training, to DM you a word so you can start a conversation, guide them to your offer, whatever that is. But that is a very simple way how to funnel people in. But if you are in the beginning, yes, free masterclass is brilliant for people to come into your world, get to know you, and then you can upsell them later, nurture them through emails. There's many different techniques, just pending what you want to do.
And I love what you said. And for all of you listening out there that have done a master class or are considering it, record it, make it evergreen. And like you were saying, run ads or traffic to it, whether it's organic or paid, because you've already created this asset. And
Yeah.
usually even that first time is the most passionate time, even if you're a little bit of nervous energy or whatever. And that's okay to be authentic if it doesn't go perfect, but to be able to know that you always have that as an asset, or even in an offer, you can use it as a bonus. So I love what you're saying. You're really, we haven't even gotten into the success questions yet, but I can feel the power and positioning and the strategy that is coming through, and how you are basically trying or have make made the most of your time, and the effect that you're having on others, going to your own beat of your own drummer, right? And not losing the income you were used to with the one-on-one, not sacrificing that, because I think that's a big thing where the confusion is. I think most women think, okay, well, I want those bigger sales, but I know I have to pay it in time, right? And then they automatically think, okay, well, if I'm not paying it in time, then I have to take less money. And this is exactly what you're saying is not the case and does not have to be the case. And I love that because this is, we see enough out there that it is confusing. It's like it's the same confusion that happens when they say never eat a carbohydrate again. And no, you need carbohydrates. They're good for you. So it's like
Yeah,
you don't know what to think sometimes anymore. So I really love the way you clarified this with such conviction and the fact that you are walking your own walk and talking your own talk. So that is really valuable. So tell us, I know a little bit about your work, but you have a couple different avenues that people can reach out, connect with you, and then just let everybody know your website that they can go ahead and explore what's really in your offer, your pricing and all that stuff on their own. But this way they kind of know what they can expect from you when they check out your website.
for sure. I think the best way to reach me and see everything is honestly Instagram because you can just hop in. My website's on there. Every piece of information is right there. My, free trainings for you to figure out your clarity, what you can create. And my name on Instagram is Sara, SARA, VEZ Coach. You will find me and very easy to find. Now, please say hello in my DMs. Ask me any question. But as I said, you can listen to my podcast, which is a completely, free of charge, amazing, value-packed information. You can go and download $1 million course idea, which is my specific framework where one-on-one business owners or beginners come to me and they're like, hey, I want to start a business, but I need that clarity. And in 20 minutes, you do that training on your own, you're going to have 16 light bulbs going off, and you're like, oh my God, let's go. I am so ready. So that would be the best way to reach me and find all my information.
I love that. I love that. I think I'm going to jump right into a question that's not on my cards, but I think it's an important one because um, I've experienced this and most business owners have experienced this. So you just brought everyone into your Instagram and you did talk about, nurture and then sell in your stories, right? So share why you want maybe women business owners to consider that instead of the website, which can act just like a simple business card or brochure and it's not really activated. It might be organized and show everything and it's a great reference point, but I think sometimes we put too much emphasis on our websites to do all the work for us, and that is not necessarily the case. Second to this question, one of the things I myself had experienced and others is when you're really trying to grow your business, you're just told you need to have a Facebook group, a school account, an Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, this, that, and the other thing, to the point where most get to the point again, frozen and kind of do nothing because it's just the overwhelm is the biggest issue for most of us women business owners. It's not that we don't desire success, and it's not that we're not even willing to do our best to try and accomplish that. But there comes a point where it's just too much.
Yeah.
How do you? What's your answer to that one? Because this is a big one for most of us.
Yes. My whole core belief is that you don't need 5,000 offers. You need one good offer and you need one either application form for work with me. You don't even need a website. You don't even need a sales page for ads and stuff like that. But if you want to scale to like even $1 million, you can have one offer, high ticket offer, an Instagram account, and show up daily. Bonus if you can do TikTok as well. I do business simple. When you enter my world, we're gonna drop like 50 pounds in the first hour together because you are currently doing 15,000 things that all the coaches are telling you to do that all necessarily work. But I teach you how to make money, how to make sales, and how to do them fast. And I call them my money making activities versus being busy and reposting your reel and tweaking your website and all of that. So the reason I didn't give you my website is because a lot of times people get lost there. There's not as much information. You can't really get to know my energy through my website. On my Instagram, you're going to see how I coach. You're going to see my client results. You're going to see my story. You're going to go through all of that. So I truly believe that with content, a lot of my clients don't even ask what the containers are. They're just like, get me in. Like I'm so inspired. I'm so fired up. Like, let's start. What's the way? And here's the money. Versus letting people go through the website, it can happen. Or when people have like, you need a funnel and then you need an email and then you need a lead magnet. Great, it works, but that's going to take 19 days to do versus funneling them in your DM, having a conversation, maybe a sales call in the beginning when you're like still building your authority or getting your reps on like selling the DMs. But boom, then they're in your world. You can close a client in a matter of hours, and that's what my clients have been experiencing, which is incredible. And it works for any niche, for any audience size, for any business owner. Like, I don't care who you are or what you do, it works because it's based on sales psychology and keeping it simple.
I love this. I'm really going rogue on my questions, but that is because I am truly inspired by everything that you're saying, and I'm getting light bulb moments, and I usually follow that path when that happens. Okay, so here is another thing that I think most women come up with, and also myself as a money mindset coach, I know for a fact that this is an issue, and it has to come with, that scarcity mindset, right? So they're assuming, again, sort of like I was alluding to before, that, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to do a sales call if I charge $1,000 for a product. There's no way anyone's going to buy $1,000 product from me if I'm not on an hour-long sales call, right? This is definitely a mentality that is happening. So how can you share that there is wealthy enough clients out there willing to buy a very, of course, valuable
Mm.
offer from a woman business owner? I think sometimes, or quite often, if a woman is still struggling in her own journey to achieve financial success, that she's just assuming that everybody else is struggling or at her
Yep.
income level, and then there's those moments, of course, where you see something on TV or whatever, and you're like, there's that much money in the world, how does that person have that much money? And it's such a, like, a cold water splash in your face, because you're just sort of, women are tend to assume that what their struggle is must be the norm, and therefore nobody can afford their product. And I remember I had a business coach, and she said something, I don't remember the exact way she said it, but she said, don't assume that someone can't afford your course or offer. Stay out of their wallet. It's not your business. And so I thought that was really great advice, because we tend to jump into their wallet and compare it, assume it's like our wallet, right? So can you speak to that? Because I think that this is really important, especially since you're really focusing on high ticket and with a less of a touch point with the calls and so forth.
Yes, for sure. Well, the whole point of a high ticket offer, the way I teach it, is that the experience is still the same as a maybe like a one-on-one call, because like a mastermind or something like that, a membership still has elements of it. That's why we can sell it for high ticket versus a completely passive offer. Now, the process is the same, but if you're a new business owner, if you don't have like massive results, creating something passive doesn't really make sense because people are not going to pay you $5,000 for it where they don't know you, they don't know the results, right? You can definitely create it, and through time, it's going to be a passive offer, but you want that proximity, you want to work one-on-one with people, and you love it. Now, very important. People have a ton of money. There is millions and billions of dollars in transactions happening every minute. Every minute. Money does actually grow on trees. I know your conditioning and where you grew up and how you've been brought up to know to think that you have to work hard for your money is really hard to get out of. It's really hard. It's so deeply rooted from when you were little. But I want you to think, when you want something, it doesn't matter the price, you're going to make it happen. And a very simple exercise. If I tell you that I'm going to give you $1 million if you come up with $2,000 by the end of the day, you will come up with $2,000 by the end of the day. You will. Or if your life depended on it, you're going to sell a car. You're going to go talk to all your friends. You're going to ask everybody to, lend you X, Y, and Z because you know that at the end of the day, you're getting $1 million and it's worth it. So you don't have to think how much money people have. Yes, target people with money, right? We're not trying to target broke people because that is a problem. And those are the hardest people to sell. The hardest thing to sell is like a $27 offer. The hardest thing. I started at $50 a month and I was pulling teeth. And now I sold a $12,000 offer to a complete stranger in 15 minutes in my DM. Euros, not even US dollars, which is almost like $15,000. And one is mindset and understanding that your worth and your knowledge have nothing to do with your wallet. Nothing. Even if you're a beginner online, that means nothing to how much you invested, how much life experience you have, what kind of results you can provide. So we target people with money. You understand that they have money. You understand that you can provide them value. There will be no sales objections, or they're just going to be asking you clarifying questions. And same thing, if you want to go and have fancy dinner, you're like, oh, I'm gonna treat my husband, my wife, whatever, to a nice dinner, and I'm gonna go buy steak. You're gonna be conditioned to think that, like, you're gonna buy a premium cut of meat because you think it's better quality. Same with this. And I'm not telling you to price your offers to just like ridiculous prices. But if I am a business coach and I want a good coach and they're charging $29 for a whole year of coaching, I'll be like, well, something's off here, right? So don't be afraid to charge what you're worth, but also at the same time, don't connect your worth to your bank account, to your journey. You can be a beginner online in mindset work, but you can help millionaires easily,
Powerful.
easily,
Yes.
right?
I love that we touched on that because this is a big thing, and I think it's important that we did talk about it because we are focusing on a higher price point for people to stretch out of their comfort zone. That's actually one of my questions here. It's not in this order, but I'll ask it anyway. How did you? Well, let's just put it this way. So, like your beginning portion of your work experience was, basically what you were working on, the whole yacht experience and everything. How did you train yourself enough, educate yourself enough to become so well educated that you could contribute such value and create that program and be, because it's fairly, it hasn't been that long of a time that, and you're really owning it compared sometimes to women. They do a little dribble and a little drabble, and before you know it, 6 years later, and they're maybe not that even far ahead,
Mhm.
possibly. So what in you made that happen, let's say relatively quickly?
Yeah. Well, I am like a sponge. So when I put my mind to something and I explain this to my clients, I will go above and beyond. So when I heard about this freedom-based business working anywhere in the world 2.5 years ago, I invested into the best coaches, into the best programs. Some were a scam, some were brilliant. Either way, I learned a ton. And then I saw what works now. So I think that's my advantage because a lot of coaches coach on volume, but those coaches have 300, 400 followers, 400,000 followers. It's very easy for them to tell you how to go viral, how to build a community of 5,000 people. That's easy because before you could post anything and be successful. So now, starting, a year and a half ago on this account and 2.5 years ago was where Instagram switched, where marketing switched, and you had to really figure out your ideal messaging in order to be successful because it is saturated. I'm not going to lie to you. There's a lot of people doing this right now because everybody's catching on how brilliant it is. But if you're going to be hiding in the background, copying everybody else, thinking that like 3 ways to lose fat on your belly is going to make you successful, that is not marketing. And I did all of it without a single ad, without a single ad. Now, ads are brilliant, but if your messaging is not clear, you can have millions of views and your ad's going to make you a little bit of money, but it's not even going to cover the investment that you put into it. So don't treat ads as like, something that is going to save you. your messaging and who your ideal client is like the most important, potent thing. And then actually providing the transformation so your, reputation is good online. But the reason I learned so fast and so good is because I jumped in the world of women who are 15 years ahead of me. I didn't pick a program when I started learning for beginners. I went from zero experience to a community of women who were earning 500K a month. And I was shitting my pants. But guess what? If you learn from the best, so if you learn from someone who has now learned from people who are way ahead, way, way, way ahead, and I implemented that from day one, that's why my business went like this. And this is why your business can go like this, because you're not going to waste your time and money on doing beginner steps. Why? You're not a beginner. You're a badass. You're an expert. You might be new online, but not up here. You know what you're doing. Your results are magical. So let me help you with the positioning and figuring out what type of offer is going to sell and provide massive transformation while allowing you to scale.
Love it. So inspired. I love that you basically, it's like quantum leaping basically,
Yes.
because why get on the fast toll road, right? Why be in the slow, and give yourself more credit to realize, you know, those women or other business owners that are making so much money, don't imagine they're somewhere up there on this gigantic pedestal, so different from you. Once you probably get in the room with them, you realize they're just as human as you. They might just do a couple things with a better strategy behind it, right? And most of it comes from trial and error. And I love what you said. You didn't want to, why do your own trial and error? Just learn, model correctly. I remember back in the day, 20 years ago, Tony Robbins even was saying something like, model the ones who are already successful. That's all you have to do. And just, put your own element, your own voice to it. So, okay, very inspired. Now we're going to actually jump into the real success questions here. I love this. Okay, before I go into that though, one more time, your Instagram link, please.
Yes. So you can find me on Instagram. It's Saravez coach. So Sara Vez coach, no H. And you can find all my goodies, my website, everything is on there.
I love it. Okay. So I think we know that, how your business has enriched your life and why you would encourage others to do that. So I think anyone who is listening right now is super motivated, if they weren't already, to continue going forward. So I wanted to ask you, a lot of people set themselves up for success, especially in a daily way. And I like to call them wealthy woman habits. Do you have any set things that you do every single day without fail? And if for some reason you weren't able to do it, your day's off. You just feel a little off center. What is that like for you?
I call it my CEO checklist, and I have a daily one and I have a weekly one. And I feel like it's so important because a lot of business owners, and for you listening, you might just be busy. And then you're thinking, why is my business not making me money? Because you're not focusing on things that actually matter in business. So if you have a hectic day, I can do my CEO checklist in 15 minutes. And you cannot tell me if you're sick, if you have a kid, you have 15 minutes. You can create 15 minutes. I don't care. It can be 5 minutes, 5 minutes, and 5 minutes. So, what's on my CEO checklist? Number one that moves needle forward is I post potent content to my ideal client. Now, you can only do it 5 times a week when it's already working, but let's say I do this every day. Every day I post on my Instagram and I sell on my stories. Every single day. Every day. That's it. Number two, I go and engage. Engagement strategy on Instagram, on TikTok is very, very important. And it's not just like liking random videos. It's using either creator, especially if you're still growing and maybe your account is a little smaller and like not seeing as much traction. You can get ideal clients by engaging in other people's audiences, by answering and responding to questions, by showing your expertise. So I would engage for 15 minutes a day. Have a little, timer. whatever you can do. That is so, so, so important. And I would post on TikTok 3 times a day, takes me 3 minutes. 3 minutes because TikTok is so fun. It's like top of the funnel. You don't necessarily make sales there. You bring people into your Instagram or into like a work with me link. But it's amazing marketing, amazing engagement, amazing market research. So those are my daily ones. As you can see, super simple. Post on Instagram, post on TikTok, sell on my stories, engagement. Boom, done, right? If my content's already pre-done, then it literally takes me 15 minutes. And then weekly ones that I add, very important. I teach clients how to work on visibility past social media, which is so important, whether that be podcast strategy, pitching yourself to different audiences, guest trainings, live trainings, whatever that is, we go in dive into that as well. Very important on my weekly one. I go and look at my metrics and I teach my clients how you can be an independent CEO. You don't need me. I'm here to help you grow, but you don't have to depend on me using Metricool, which is an amazing, amazing desktop app for free where you can have all your websites, everything in there, and you see the whole overview of why your website spiked in views, what type of content did you just post, and it's like a nice on your screen, very, very cool, easy to see. And I send one email to my, email list, little nurture, little update, whatever. I'm not that big on email marketing because I'm not focusing on growing my email list, but still people who are there. And very important, always do your business first and then serve your clients. So you have all the energy and you're not drained at the end of the day and you're putting everybody else's businesses in front of yours.
That's great advice and so true because a lot of that power comes in the morning. So, really fabulous. What was that tool again that you said? Metric Cool, as in
Metri,
COOL?
yes. I think it's METRI, cool. COOL.
Okay. Very, very
Like
cool.
metrics, but Metri, cool.
Very, very good
Amazing,
advice. I love that.
amazing tool.
Now, shifting it to you as your personal self, do you have also like a morning routine, yoga, meditation, that kind of stuff that you do every day? What does that look like?
I am very big on health and running a business that, supports your life. So what I do is I do not touch my phone for the first hour. It's, my business is on my phone and on my computer. So I wake up, I have a window right here where the beautiful sun's hitting me, and I go either on the terrace, on a balcony, wherever I'm in the world, open the window, sunlight into my eyeballs while hydrating and writing in my journal. Maybe you want to listen to a meditation. Maybe you just want to do breath work, but with your eyes open so your body wakes up. Very important. Breakfast, first thing in the morning. Don't just have caffeine. I love to not eat in the morning, but not great for women, not great for our hormones, not great for our bodies. And then I have this trick where I call it brainwash yourself into success. Because as entrepreneurs, we're going to have amazing days and you're magnetic and you're ready and everything's working out. But then you're going to have days when you're down, when something went wrong, when you got a bad comment. And I called it the Tinder swipe method. You know how you're swiping left or right. So if negative thoughts start coming of like, you're not successful, you're not going to make it, you're going to run out of money, no one's going to pay, you have your thoughts come into your brain, and all you do is either swipe them left or swipe them right. If
Yes,
you believe it and if it's true, give it power. Otherwise, it's just a thought. It doesn't mean anything. So I would catch myself being like, oh my God, I just made a big investment. I'm freaking out. What if I don't make enough sales? Swipe it to the left because there's no proof that this is happening. There's no proof. This is just my brain, my subconscious trying to protect me, trying to keep me small. And this way, I cut so much time, like I save so much time from not spiraling because I'm just like, nope, I don't believe that. And they're gonna come back again. I'm like, nope, still no, still no. And then I focus on the positive. Just it's harder in the beginning. I'm like mastering this now, where I'm just like, nope, choose not to believe that. But it's very powerful because your thoughts create your reality, and that's a big part of my container as well. We work on mindset, we work on manifestation, we work on energy and frequency because basically a quick framework, right, would be First, really like embodying who you are, then figuring out how to express that, how to execute, and then how to scale. That would be the four quick steps of how I bring you to success. But it's 5% strategy, 95% mindset, and I can give you all the steps. And if you're right here and the energy's not right, it's going to be like banging your head against the wall.
That is so true. Really well said. And I had one question for you. I'm thinking of all the women, and they're like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and post every day now. They're inspired. And I think, a lot of times this goes into, that whole idea of they want to be all properly dressed and, let's say, a little bit glam to do the reels and the stories and so forth. And then some of them are not wanting to do that at all, and they want to go kind of like with a faceless account, so to speak. Or
Mhm.
what is it possible, if someone does not, can someone still find the success and that connection with an audience, if they're not showing up, or just show up in your hair on your bun and your sweats, glam one day, sweats another day? It doesn't matter. Like, what is your perspective on that? Because I still think that there's a lot of uh anxiety about going live, especially if you're suggesting doing it daily. That might, I don't want anyone to freeze and say,
Mhm.
no, I'm not going to do that,
Very,
when this is a very important part of the journey to success. So
very good question. You see me all dolled up right now, but I normally live in my sweatpants. I work from my desk in my childhood home because I'm currently visiting my family. I don't wear makeup anymore. So if you go to my profile, some of it we're going to be with makeup. Full transparency, I probably had a podcast interview right before that. I do not put on makeup for a video, for a coaching call. And when you think about it, would you, let's say you're a mom, right? Believe a mom who's fully dolled up, like perfect with their kids, or someone who's like, listen, my house is messy, my hair is a mess, I haven't had a shower in 3 days, here's some throw up on my shoulders, but I'm still running a really successful business. Of course, you're going to believe this woman because she's relatable. Now, when it comes to faceless accounts, is success possible? Yes, but would you believe someone who you don't even know? Like people, it's hard for you to trust, maybe even me. And I'm here with you for almost an hour explaining all the different ways how to work with me and showing you my expertise. Now, I truly believe that if you want to have a faceless account, you have a visibility problem. You want to hide. You're afraid to speak your truth. You're afraid what people are going to say. And if you post from that with your face or without your face, you're not going to be successful. You're going to be successful if you mastered branding, if you mastered client psychology, if you mastered messaging. But those people normally are doing them faceless just as a side gig. So it is possible. But if you're someone who works one-on-one and now wants to do one-to-many and build trust and authority and stand out, my girl, is going to be hard. Like it's going to be hard. And I would say let's first work on why do you want to have a faceless account? Because this is where your question will be answered to what's behind this? Because you're clearly hiding or afraid of something. And from that energy, as I said, it's really hard to be successful.
but I love this because you just gave permission to everybody out there to be themselves, be authentic,
Yes.
be relatable, because that's what your audience wants. And I love that you said that. And I often talk about this. I think when the whole idea of going live came out, when it was all such a new thing, you saw so much airbrushing and perfection. And of course that made, so many women uncomfortable to even think that they should get started until they lost the weight, the hair's done, the nails are polished, all of the stuff.
All the things. Yeah.
And it's just so lovely because you can just be as real as ever. And I know that because well, hello myself, I just do my best, but I don't worry about the perfection. But I remember I had one of my coaches, and high level coach, like multi-millionaire coach, and I was in a coaching program, and sometimes of course she has all the glam shoots and this, that, and the other thing, but she showed up, no makeup, bun on, sweats, even in the background, it was a little bit messy, and it didn't matter. She was delivering value, and that is what the message is about. So, permission to all of you, just get out there and show up. No one's paying as much attention to that as you think. You know, we're always our worst critic, and someone needs your gifts. So don't hide. And the more you do it, the more comfortable you will get. It's like building a muscle, like anything
Yeah.
else in life, right? So that being said, I have another question for you. If you could say the average woman entrepreneur, what are do you feel are the three qualities she must have? Like, it's not like it'd be nice if you have it. You must have these three qualities if you really want to be considered a professional businesswoman with the possibility of making a lot of impact and income. So,
Because those go hand in hand.
right.
Number one, you need to be disciplined enough that you're gonna show up every single day, no matter what, no matter how much time you have or don't have. Because this does not work if you do it once and then you leave. So you have to be disciplined enough to do it and to understand in your head that like this is what it takes for you to be successful. If we're talking about online business, promotion, free marketing, all of that. You also have to have this belief in yourself that if you had an idea, there is somewhere out there that needs to hear it and that your work matters, that you are enough. Because in the beginning, you might not see massive success, you might not see big, launches of 500K, first time launch, da 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 da. Can it happen? 1,000%. But if you're comparing yourself to someone so far ahead, you will never start. And then three, you will never be perfect and it's never going to be the right time for you to do this. There's always going to be something. So you have to be willing to be a beginner in business always because you're always learning something and take messy action. Perfection, someone can be here thinking like, "Oh my God, her reel is not perfect. I know how to do reels better, but I'm going to post every day for a year and you're going to post one perfect reel." Who do you think is going to be successful? How do you think do you learn better? How do you think you get market research? You have to show up. And it's very, very important that you understand that it's a long game. It's not, happening overnight. But what I do with my clients is I have the time because I only focus on things that matter.
I love that. Perfect answer. Okay,
Mhm.
my final question. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
How do you define success? What does that look like in your dream day?
Mm. To me, being successful means that I have complete freedom. Now, what does that mean to me? Financial freedom, time freedom, and location freedom. And I always had one, but I never had all three. Because if we think money, but you don't have time, if you think money and time, but you have to be in a certain location, you catch my point. So my success, my being rich means rich in time, money, and working from anywhere in the world. So being successful, that's why I call it like a freedom-based business. That's why I call my membership elevated freedom formula because it really truly is what we all are craving for. And it's the ultimate cherry on top, having all three freedoms. That's when I'm like, you can brag because it's not about just the money, it's not about just the impact. It's not, you have to have it all for me to be like, you know what, you're successful because that means you're healthy. You can go wherever you want, your clients are still supported, and you love your business. You're real and honest and authentic, and you're showing me how you can do it, and you're not perfect. So, like that freedom in all three areas, that what success is to me.
I love that answer. And it really speaks to me because the entire reason I named my company Wealthy Woman Every Day, that wealth is exactly what you said. It's not just about money. In fact, that's not even, it's everything. It's the health, it's the time freedom, it's the joy, it's the impact, it's designing your day. And that is real wealth, right? That's wealth. And, and every day, not just someday, find the wealthy ways in every single day of your life. Basically, that comes down again to like gratitude, notice all of the blessings, the wealth that already surrounds you. And then, do those thinking thoughts that are positive and pull you forward into even more wealth mindset stuff. It's so important, right? You said
Uh,
5 to 10% is strategy, 90% is totally
yeah,
mindset stuff.
but
So
you can't do either alone, which is
yes,
also very important, right?
yes,
So you
yes,
can just
exactly.
mindset your way to, you
That's
can, but still, like you need both in a perfect
absolutely,
balance, and then your business is gonna feel super easy,
yeah.
super inspiring. You're gonna be like, wow, this is ridiculous. I'm having the time of my life and, inspiring so many people and earning the most that I've ever earned.
Uh, I love it. Well, did I promise you, women, a beautiful, inspired interview? I think that you are all probably feeling extremely motivated. You probably have your calendar out and are adding new tasks into it and ready to go forward in a more energetic, purposeful focus. And that's what this is for. I want you to be inspired because the stronger, more powerful, empowered women we have that show up and make it happen, that show their daughters or their sisters or their mothers, or it doesn't matter. Let's make the changes for powerful, beautiful, purposeful women. And this is how it happens. You get inspired and then you take action. So, or you take action and get inspired. They both work. So just
That's true.
get moving forward. So thank you so much again for joining another beautiful, wonderful interview. Sara, fantastic. I truly am so blessed that you're here. So thank you so much for sharing so much gold on this beautiful interview.
Thank you so much for having me. Really, really
Ah,
appreciate it.
appreciate it. Okay, wealthy women, until the next time, see you soon. Bye for now.